Time for us to have a conversation, and joining us on Summer of STEM series is Jadesola Adedeji. She is the co-founder of STEMmets. STEMmets is a social enterprise focused on bridging the 21st century skills gap within the Nigerian educational system. Now today, she will be focusing on homemade lava lamp. It's good to have you in the studio with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely our pleasure. Now, Jadesola, when children are on the long holiday, and I'm sure many people have been coming across the word STEM. What exactly is STEM? And then METS adding to it again. Tell us about that.
Sure. So STEM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math. And it's a method of learning and teaching which encompasses concepts of science, technology, engineering, and math. It's often a project-based method of learning where you are coming together and bringing those elements to solve a problem. It helps develop creative thinking skills in children, critical thinking, collaboration, etc., and also application of knowledge. It's very practical. It's hands-on. You're feeling, you're doing, you're making, you're breaking, and in that way, you're learning by doing, not just cramming and regurgitating, as I call it.
That's
so it's
true.
not just theory, it's practicalizing the knowledge that you've learned.
Sounds like a great way to engage children, especially over the long holidays. And so it makes me wonder, how can parents actually engage their children regarding STEM? How can they go about that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Well, research has it that over the summer, there's actually learning loss that happens when children are out of school.
Yeah.
And also if they're not sufficiently engaged in things that help them think. So for us, we think STEM is the perfect way to learn over the summer. There's simple things that parents can do at home with their children or that the children themselves can do. And it doesn't need to take a lot of space or a lot of money. So there are things you can do around the house, maybe some cardboard things, empty bottles of, water and things like that. They can make and construct things. And the idea is for them to be able to use their imagination to do things.
Now, with the current economic situation, now there's also, we cannot deny the fact that
Yes.
parents are like, okay, you know what, let's ditch summer school this year. We could save the money and add to your tuition in the next term and all. And so these are ways that children can stay engaged at home while they are also, awaiting the next term. Now, could you tell us some of those things that the children could do?
Yeah, there's actually a variety of free things you can do.
Okay.
For example, a reading challenge.
Okay.
So, some aspect of STEM is also called STEAM, where the arts are in there. So, literacy arts. So, I would even say, let's create a reading challenge.
Okay.
So, there are kids in the house. This is the set number of books that you can challenge them to read. And there's some sort of reward at the end of the summer program. Even things like arts and crafts.
Okay.
You could again do a series of different things and have an exhibition at the end of the summer, so to speak. One interesting one that became prominent over the pandemic is actually virtual field trips. So
Virtual field trips,
exactly. So a lot of these museums abroad or centers, White House, NASA, etc., they have virtual tours that you can do. So I'm sitting here in Lagos, and I'm doing a tour of the White House.
Wow.
I haven't bought a ticket to go to DC. I'm sitting here, I'm on NASA website, and I'm doing a tour of Mars.
Wow.
Or the UNESCO site. So there's a lot of free information online that you can engage in. Learn an instrument. There's so many things you can do now using technology. There are, apps that can help you learn languages, help you learn an instrument, etc. So those are free and those are really widely available. I think it's a matter of knowing where to look.
Now, I like the fact that you mentioned arts and crafts, because I know one of the things you want to show us today is how to make lava lamp.
Yes.
Now, that is something that will definitely not just engage the children, but also keep them captivated. Now, I know you've got some stuff on the table.
Yes.
Let's take a look at this.
So they're quite simple. So here I have water in here.
Okay, how much water is this?
Actually, this is just a quarter of the bottle that we're using.
Okay.
And what we're going to be doing is showing them a simple experiment. We're calling it lava lamp because it's replicating a commercial lava lamp. It's really a decorative object,
Okay.
but it's also trying to explain the science behind it.
Okay.
So we have some water here.
Yeah.
I know oil is a commodity now in Nigeria. So please ask your parents first so we don't get anybody into trouble.
Ensure you have adult supervision.
For
because the last
sure.
thing you want to do is spill oil everywhere.
Yes.
You could get into serious trouble for that.
So definitely adult supervision. So as you can see, this is just highlighting two immiscible liquids. So obviously, water and oil don't mix.
Yeah, the oil is still staying on top.
The oil is staying on top because the water is denser. So I'm explaining density here, but without it sounding as if I'm in a classroom. So the oil is sitting there. The water is denser, so it's floated to the bottom.
Okay.
So we have two liquids there. And just for aesthetics value, I'm going to put some food coloring in there just to be able to highlight. So maybe about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 drops in there. And
that's
as you can
green,
see,
right?
yes, that's green. And you can see the drops are floating down.
Yeah.
So again, that's another display
Heading
of...
straight for the water.
Yeah, exactly. Density there.
Okay.
So we have that in there. And so the exciting thing here is the thing I'm going to do next. So we have some effervescent tablets here. And what it means is that it just, once you drop it in water, it fizzes.
Yeah.
And so the idea there is that when the effervescent tablets hits the water, it starts to bubble up, right? And what's happening
and the coloring is also reacting to that. It's beginning to pick up as well.
So gases are being made.
Yeah.
So again, we're talking chemistry here.
Yeah.
So the chemicals in these tablets are causing the gases to bubble up.
Okay.
And the gases themselves are taking up, you know, the water molecules, floating to the top. And when they float to the top, they release the gas. And release the water. And again, like I said, water is denser. It floats back to the bottom. So you can see that just continues and continues. And when they say lava, if you imagine a volcano that is erupting.
And I see the bubbles as well.
Yeah, and you can see.
Excited.
Yeah. So it's really a chemical reaction. Gases are being released. They go up as bubbles. They float up. They come back down. So the more you put the effervescent, again, adult supervision, because these effervescent tablets are actually medicinal products, you know, that's being used. And so we have our homemade lava lamp there.
So it's just going to keep going through this process.
Exactly. So it's just that repetition. And
for how long will this last?
This can last anything up to 10 minutes, actually.
10 minutes,
yeah, the more you put this, it's very engaging, and then you can use different colors. You can use a mixture of colors. So you can see, in a way, I've explained science, but not the textbook. I've talked about density. I've talked about liquid. I've talked about gases. I've talked about, you know, immiscible liquids, two liquids that are mixing up with each other.
So the purpose of the oil is, the oil actually helps with the bubbles as well, because I can see that.
Yes.
And then, of course, the colors, that's the food coloring.
Coloring, yes.
I can see it's dissipating one by one.
Exactly.
It's not doing so at once.
No, it isn't, because what's happening is that the gases that's been released is really kind of capturing, you know, the liquid there and carrying it up. So it's like a transport system, you know, as well. All of that is going on. And then when it gets to the top, the bubbles, you know, it's carbon dioxide that's being produced. The bubbles burst, the water is released, and then it floats back down again.
What if I decide I do not want to use any water? Will I still have this effect?
No, you won't, because the
water.
effervescent tablets need water to dissolve. Yes, not in the oil.
So what the oil does is to aid with the bubbles as well.
Right, in terms of transporting up. And also highlighting that it's a dense liquid. You would imagine that because its oil is thicker, it will be denser than water.
Now, you know, children can be very mischievous. Now, I just want to ask, if this gets into the mouth, it's safe, right?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Because there's food coloring.
Well, there's food coloring there. This is what I'm concerned about the most.
Yes, they'll just end up in the toilets more often. But
yeah, so please, adult supervision.
Always. Whenever you're doing any form of practicals like this, please, adult supervision. It cannot be overemphasized.
Exactly.
Okay, so can we put another one there?
Sure.
Yes.
So we
so
can
it keeps
just
bubbling.
Yes, we can just keep adding that. And honestly, even this, after this, I can keep this. And if I'm bored, I can just add.
Keep putting it. So
Yeah.
it can last for as long
Yeah,
as you want if you
exactly.
just keep including that.
Exactly. So
Okay.
this system is, and it's simple.
Yeah, very easy ways to engage your children. Let their minds think, especially those who have interest in science.
Exactly.
So they're like, okay, how can this work? Okay, let me try something else. And who knows what ideas they might come up with in future.
Yeah, and they can have a variation of it. You can say to
Yeah.
them, okay, we've used oil this time. What if we use something else? Will
Yeah.
it be the same effect? And even some of the questions that you've asked, what are those bubbles? What are those?
Yeah.
So these are opportunities for them to also ask the question and also have the understanding behind what they're seeing.
So for parents who have been captivated by this and I think, okay, my son said he was bored yesterday, this is something to engage him. How can we find more ways to engage the children during this holiday?
You know, like I mentioned, I think it's really, and I know parents are at
I'm
work.
talking about practical.
Practicals. Parents are at work. I think it's really research. There's a lot of information out there. And even, you know, ChatGPT is your friend. So if you put it in there that, you know, give me 5 simple science experiments I can do at home that is safe. I can use home ingredients or things around the house. It will give you that.
It will give you options. So
Yes.
this is one of them. So
This
you
is one
might
of
want to
them.
try this one. And then, of course, with time, you explore other possibilities.